Hello. So, I am currently in Liverpool because I'm going on a campus tour today. So, I'm really excited to see where I'm going to be staying in September, which is not far away. But I thought, because my brain has been feeling very overwhelmed recently, that I wanted to have a chat about something with real honesty, in the hopes that it will help me and in the hopes that it might help somebody else. And I don't really know where to start with it. So I'm just going to try and just start and try not to ramble too much. But I essentially feel nervous to talk about it, not because it's a taboo subject or not because people would judge me. I don't worry about that at all. And the main reason I don't worry about that is because it seems like a topic that's quite spoken about quite widely now. And that is probably the reason why I feel quite nervous to talk about it. And the reason, well, let me rephrase that. I feel nervous to talk about it because I have been one of those people who is quite low patience, energy for people discussing this topic, and I have had to really talk to myself about this because I'm not proud to say that. Now I feel like this is probably if you're watching this, you might be thinking, what the hell are you about to talk about? But essentially, I want to talk about a subject I know very little about, very little about, but I want to talk about the fact that I have been slowly but surely starting to question whether or not I have ADHD. And the thing is that I'm actually grateful for the fact that so many people are speaking about it openly now. There was a huge period of time where I was like, oh, and forgive me, but I was like, oh, you and all the rest. Oh, you and me both. Oh, and I don't know if part of the reason why I had such a kind of impatient attitude towards so many people saying that they were being diagnosed with ADHD, feeling they had it. I don't know if part of the reason that it used to make me feel so impatient was because I was thinking, well, that's what I feel like and I don't have a diagnosis. When really, what I actually feel is that ever since I have been little, I feel like I have had some kind of neurodivergence and have always desperately wanted help, more help, more support with learning, concentrating, not panicking, executive decision making. It's something that I have struggled with since I was little, very little. And the thing is that I have always, and this could be what it is, I have always put it down to anxiety. I have a really hair trigger anxiety response, particularly to making mistakes or getting things wrong, or being told off, getting scolded, getting in trouble. It's something that has always scared me so much to the point where it becomes a vicious cycle, and I do get things wrong, and I do end up in a flap, and I do end up like not being able to focus, and I do end up, you know, in the exact situation that I'm dreading being in, becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's what I've always put it down to, and it still could be that. In a way, if it is that, it's harder because I've been trying to work on my anxiety for absolutely years, and at the age of 32, I still feel like exactly how I did when I was 4 years old, and that kind of makes me feel not very hopeful that I will find learning or workplaces or study places any easier anytime soon. But I wanted to talk about it because if anybody feels like me or is wondering if they maybe have undiagnosed ADHD, is this ADHD? Is this autism? Is this anxiety? I mean, I will say for a fact, I know I have anxiety. I will say that for a fact. It's just I start to realize that when things become hard, when things become challenging, I can't cope. And that's why I'm starting to feel like I now would like to seek some more in-depth help, like to find out whether it is ADHD. If it is, I would be so pleased to know that, because then I know, what do I need to do? Okay, that's what I'm going to do. My life gets easier. If it's not that, okay, that's going to be difficult because I need to find a different way of managing it. But at least I know not to think it could be that. One less thought. So I kind of wanted to make this video for people who are in that kind of no man's land of really struggling with their mind and feeling like their mind is trying to attack them every day, and who are not diagnosed with anything in particular or have not sought a diagnosis. Obviously know the waiting lists are long, but kind of in this kind of no man's land state where you're like, I think it could be this, but for the meantime I'm just going to struggle. Now I think that something that I'm trying to learn to shift my attitude on, in fact I've shifted it a lot recently, is the idea that yes, lots of people are being diagnosed with ADHD. There could be so many reasons for that. Who knows what they are? But in a way, it kind of shows that there's actually a huge community of people who can support each other and who understand each other, and makes it feel less isolating. Whereas, yeah, I think before I was definitely like, I don't know, I was quite dismissive because I just thought, well, doesn't everyone have like a bit of ADHD? And I think the reason that I went from that attitude to this attitude is when I start to notice that on the daily I'm really struggling. So starting to get ill. My symptoms of like vestibular migraine, neuritis-y type feeling, it's coming back a little bit. I'm having some vertigo, and for me it gets worse when I'm highly stressed, and for me work can be a huge cause of the stress. And I think knowing that obviously if you have some kind of disability, as it were, then you know that you can get workplace adjustments, whereas if you don't have that sense of what's actually going on for you, sometimes people can just kind of side eye, like, you just like not good at your job. and that's obviously very, very hard to reckon with and reason with. So I kind of wanted to make a video to hopefully show a bit of a journey of seeking a diagnosis, and you know what happens when you do get one or don't get one, and to discuss what that means from there. um, yeah, I would love to take a bunch of people who either have ADHD, think they might have ADHD, maybe was quite skeptical like me about it, along for the ride. I mean, I do feel like modern life does make focusing incredibly hard. I just feel like my mind feels like there are so many things running through it all at the same time, and I can't pick which one to focus on. But oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's so difficult. But yes, I thought that what I would start by doing, because I think it might be a little while before I go to a doctor. I think I will go probably just before I start university. I, yes, just thought, well, it would be good for me to write down the reasons why I think I might have it. So I'll try and fly through them, and I could be totally wrong. I could be totally wrong. But okay, one of the main things is, and again, I kind of blame freaking technology for this, because I mean, I love technology, but also like my brain can't deal with it, is the fact that I will so often go to start a task, phone someone, send an email, look something up, and then half an hour's gone by and I'm doing something else. And then I'll be like, oh, I was just about to make a phone call. But it happens constantly. Constantly. So that's the thing. Um, um, Sorry, I'm trying to read this, and excuse the titties and cleavage. They're quite showing. um yeah, so yeah, I'm just trying to read my writing, to be honest. It says, yeah, that I've always felt like I have some kind of learning difficulty, and maybe I don't. And maybe that's a true insult to people who do, but I have genuinely always felt that. I've genuinely always felt that. And kind of, unless you have seen me trying to learn as a child or tried to live with me as an adult, you wouldn't quite understand the scope of why. But I had many a panic attack, many a freak out, many a crying hysterically over someone teaching me something that I didn't understand. And obviously, as an adult, it's slightly less acceptable to do that, society wise, that I think I mask so much. I mask so much, but the symptoms and the distress is still very much there. And I think it's really bad for my health, because what happens at work is I end up with migraines and I end up with like face pain, like in my cheeks, from just being so stressed. So stressed. Yes. Oh God, when I go to watch a film, it's actually embarrassing, and I'm not a huge fan of films. Possibly for this reason, possibly for some other reasons, is that I can't always follow the plot. Usually because I will start. This either just says something about my mind, but usually because I will start hyper focusing on something like someone's earrings, or something not relevant to the plot, or start thinking about the actor or actress who's playing that character and thinking about their personal life, and not listening. Not listening. And then when people say to me, what did you think of the story? And I'm like, I don't really know what happened. It seems funny, but to me it's not funny, because it's the story of my life and I feel stupid, but I know I'm not stupid. but yes, I struggle with this. I do struggle with this. Yeah, I struggle with executive decision making, so often nothing gets done. You can see from my other videos, my room is like a tip, because I often struggle so much with deciding what to do first. And unless I have really sat and thought about what to do first, nothing will get done. Again, someone could come in and just be like, you're just lazy. Fine. I personally don't really believe in that concept, and I also don't think I am lazy. If I'm really honest, I don't think I am lazy, but I know that when it comes to deciding what to do first, I really struggle. Yeah, I think essentially just that I've kind of seen my work performance and things like that really suffer as a result of whatever happens in here. Oh, and something that used to actually stress me out so much was that I would get asked at work to run errands for people. I'll just be truthful. People would say to me, can like while you're going and getting your lunch, can you go and get mine? And I don't know if they understood how stressful that was for me. So stressful. And it's not because I didn't want to help. It was because when I'm on that lunch break, I can't. My mind goes, as it should on your lunch break. It goes to my social life. It goes to wanting to just not think about anything, all that kind of thing. I couldn't retain how much mine costs, theirs costs, the third person's, fourth person's cost. People would give me all their credit cards and I couldn't remember it. I think unless I'd have gone out with a notepad and book, I couldn't remember anything. And to be honest with you, I think with having a mind that's so overactive in a kind of negatively impacting way on the day-to-day means that my lunch breaks are sacred. They are sacred because because any opportunity where it's like you don't have to think really hard now, my mind is desperate to go there. Because if it's like you've been thinking so hard on this work thing, now you have to think so hard on your break, I end up with a headache. I have ended up taking people's debit cards home, taking them home. To the point where eventually I was like, please stop asking me to do this because I can't do it. And then when people think I'm a bozo or a donut for forgetting their stuff, it's just like, please, like, stop. Because it's either I'm the problem or you need to just, get your own. And as a self-confessed people pleaser, it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't think that I would have felt kind of pushed to seek a diagnosis if I hadn't sometimes looked at my life and thought how bad certain aspects of it seem. And I watched the lovely documentary about ADHD with Chris Packham, and that was where I kind of thought, oh, that really does that really looks and sounds like me. That kind of made me think, okay, maybe I should actually think about it. And also just seeing that there's bits of my life, bits of me that people just don't get, And I think it's especially difficult when people don't get them and they resent certain bits. It's like it would just be so much easier to just be like, look, my brain works in a different way. You know, you might not understand this, but this is me. As I say, if I don't get a diagnosis, then things will just be stressful as they've ever been. But I'll have to see if I can just kind of manage my anxiety another way. But yeah, that's it. I just thought I'd open up a conversation here. If you were like me though, and you're kind of like, everyone and their dog's got an ADHD diagnosis, if you're thinking that, I do understand the temptation, I really do. If you're also thinking, yeah, well, I'm like that and I don't have it, maybe think about the possibility that maybe you do and that there's enough help to go around for everyone. And if you can cope, fine, that's fine. But the only reason why I'm looking to find out is because I don't feel like I can cope very well with it, so. Or with this. I think so when doctors say to me, you've got to get on top of your stress, you need to get on top of it, I'm like, I'm 32 and I've known that I've had anxiety since I was a child. Like, I've known that I have. I've had CBT, I've been in like constant counselling. I'm always working on myself, always looking into all of that, always doing a deep dive, always challenging myself, always putting myself out of my comfort zone. So in that sense, it's like, for example, if people are like, maybe you just need to expose yourself more to things that freak you out, I do every day, every fucking day. So yeah, this is why I would like to seek some more help, because then at least I won't have the regret of not trying. I feel like I owe it to myself to try. And if you feel the same, I'm really happy if I can potentially inspire you to use this as your sign. Use this as your sign. If you've ever wondered it, felt that you would benefit from extra help, be that for depression, anxiety, ADHD, autism, anything, then use this as your sign to do what you deserve and ask for some help if you can. Yeah, all right, guys. Anybody watching who's maybe feeling a bit rubbish, just want to say lots of love, and yes, I've got my uni campus tour soon. I'm quite nervous. I'm really quite nervous, especially because of my vestibular issues at the moment. I'm worried about falling or losing my balance, and I'm just feeling quite nervous. Again, not like me. I think my anxiety stress threshold is a bit low at the moment, but I'm in Liverpool and yeah, I haven't seen much of it yet. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. So here we go.